Color trends don't come out of nowhere. They reflect cultural, technological, and even emotional shifts happening in the world. For 2026, the palettes that are emerging carry a clear message: accessible sophistication and intelligent versatility. Knowing which colors will gain strength isn't about blindly chasing fashion. It's about making strategic choices that update your wardrobe without needing to replace everything. In this video, I'm going to show the colors that will dominate 2026 and practical ideas on how to use each one of them. Intense cobalt blue is coming back strong, but with a fundamental difference compared to the last time it took over store windows. Now it comes deeper, almost petroleum-like, avoiding that aggressive electric blue that became tiring quickly. This matured version works because it carries sophistication without losing personality. The secret to wearing this color without looking like you're trying too hard is in the proportion. When you wear cobalt in tailored pieces like a blazer or impeccably cut trousers, the color gains instant seriousness. Structured fabric tames the intensity of the color. But in fluid fabrics like silk or satin, this same blue can feel exaggerated for everyday wear, working better for night out or event settings. The smartest combination you can make with cobalt isn't with white, as everyone will suggest. It's with medium or charcoal gray. Gray absorbs part of the blue's intensity without competing with it, creating a visual balance that looks much more expensive than it actually is. If you add a third earthy element like camel or chocolate, you're creating a three-dimensional composition with professional stylist depth. White with cobalt does work, but it's predictable and can create a contrast that's too harsh in certain situations. Evolved sage green also makes a strong appearance, but it's not that sweet minty green from years ago. We're talking about a green with more gray in the mix, almost like a leaf after the rain, with an impressive quiet elegance. This color is brilliant for those who want to look current without shouting. The problem is that many people use sage green in the wrong fabrics and completely lose the effect. In jersey or overly soft knits, this green can look faded or unintentional. In high-quality linen or structured cotton, it gains a sophistication that fully justifies the investment. The big insight with sage is understanding that it works as an expanded neutral. You can build monochromatic looks in several shades of gray-green, from light to dark, and the result has a visual cohesion we usually only get with beige or gray. The difference is that you keep chromatic interest without losing versatility. Pair sage with off-white that leans toward creamy yellow instead of pure white, and you create a palette that feels simultaneously fresh and timeless. Add accessories in chocolate brown or cognac, and you have a look that could be in an international magazine editorial. What's surprising is how well sage works with tanned or medium skin tones. It doesn't compete with the skin tone. Actually, it highlights natural golden undertones without needing obvious warm colors. For very fair skin, choose sage with a bit more saturation to avoid disappearing into the color. For dark skin tones, the grayer shades create subtle and extremely elegant contrast. Refined terracotta is arriving with less orange and more depth. It's no longer that vibrant brick tone, it's a terracotta that flirts with rose brown, with a complexity that makes the color look different depending on the light. This subtlety is exactly what makes the color so versatile. The most common mistake with terracotta is using too much of it, or pairing it with colors that compete in temperature. When you mix terracotta with other warm colors like mustard or burnt red, you're creating a chromatic fire that tires the eyes. The most sophisticated strategy is to use terracotta as the only warm color in the look, balancing it with cool neutrals. Imagine terracotta pants with a concrete gray top and a charcoal blazer. Terracotta becomes the controlled point of light that warms the composition without dominating it. Or do the opposite, a look in sand and off-white tones with a statement terracotta accessory like a bag or shoes. The color becomes the protagonist through contrast, not quantity. Terracotta has a superpower few people explore. It works incredibly well in monochrome for those with warm undertones. You can literally dress head to toe in terracotta variations, from light to dark, and the result is enveloping without being heavy. The key is to vary textures and saturations, never too matchy-matchy. A rosy terracotta top, more burnt terracotta trousers, and deep terracotta shoes create a visual progression that guides the eye naturally. Before we go on, do you also waste time every day not knowing what to wear? If that's your situation, the Look Gallery solves it. It's 1,000 ready-to-wear outfits organized by weather and occasion. You open it on your phone, choose what makes sense for your day, and that's it. A complete outfit to copy, no thinking, and no time wasted. Just scan the QR on the screen or click the pinned link. Gray lavender emerges as a smart alternative for those who find pink too obvious and purple too dramatic. It's a lilac that has lost its childish sweetness and gained maturity through the gray added to the mix. This color has an almost misty quality that makes it surprisingly easy to wear day to day. The challenge with gray lavender is avoiding a washed out or lifeless look. In fabrics with natural sheen like cotton sateen or washed silk, the color gains dimension and movement. In matte knits with no texture, it can look unintentional. The least expected and most effective pairing for lavender is with olive or khaki green. It sounds strange on paper, but in practice it creates unexpected harmony with the perfect balance between feminine and utilitarian. The earthy green grounds the ethereal lavender, keeping it from drifting into overly romantic territory. If you add a touch of dark chocolate brown through accessories or a third piece, you create a triadic palette that works in any context, from casual to professional. For fair skin with cool undertones, gray lavender is glorious because it amplifies natural brightness without creating harsh contrast. For medium and dark skin tones, choose lavender with a bit more saturation to ensure proper visual presence. Very pale lavender can disappear against darker skin, completely losing impact. Butter yellow emerges as an evolution of the bright yellow that became overly saturated in recent years. It's a yellow that flirts with cream, losing aggressiveness while retaining luminosity. This color is technically tricky because the line between sophisticated butter yellow and dull yellow beige is very thin. The difference lies in saturation and context. When used in structured pieces like a tailored blazer or perfectly cut trousers, butter yellow gains immediate credibility. In loose or very casual pieces, it can look like a color choice with no clear intention. The real power of butter yellow is replacing white in classic compositions. Imagine a look you'd build with a white shirt, black trousers, and a gray blazer. Swap the white shirt for butter yellow and you keep the brightness white would provide, but add warmth and modernity. Butter yellow works as warm white, bringing all the benefits of brightness near the face without the coldness or rigidity of pure white. The least obvious combination that works surprisingly well is butter yellow with grape or eggplant tones. The temperature contrast between warm yellow and cool purple creates interesting visual tension, but since both have moderate saturation, there's no aggressive competition. Add a neutral like taupe gray to balance it, and you have a palette that feels both bold and perfectly controlled. Luminous pearl gray is emerging as a sophisticated replacement for the plain gray we've been wearing for years. It's not a gray with artificial shimmer. It's a gray with clarity that seems to have its own light, thanks to a slightly silver base. This nuance makes a huge difference in how the color interacts with other pieces and with skin. Pearl gray reflects light more actively than traditional gray, which means it brightens the face when worn in upper garments, functioning like a natural highlighter. The insight with pearl gray is understanding that it's not a passive neutral like regular gray. It has subtle personality that calls for pairing with equally refined colors. Combine it with navy that leans petroleum and you create depth without darkness. Wear it with sage green and you establish a dialogue between two tones that share this contained luminosity. Avoid pairing pearl gray with highly saturated or vibrant colors because its delicacy is completely lost. Practically speaking, pearl gray works extraordinarily well in tailoring because it adds visual interest without patterns or texture. A pearl gray suit has more presence than the same suit in regular gray, but keeps professional elegance and versatility. For dressier occasions, pearl gray in fluid fabrics like crepe or washed silk brings quiet sophistication that never goes out of style. Red-toned chocolate brown is returning, but not like the heavy, opaque browns from decades ago. It's a brown with life, touches of wine or mahogany that appear depending on the light. This chromatic complexity is what separates modern brown from dated brown. The most frequent mistake is using this brown excessively or in very casual contexts where it loses its richness. Red-toned chocolate brown works best in visibly high-quality pieces where the fabric and cut do justice to the color's sophistication. The smartest strategy is to use this brown as the anchor in palettes that might feel too airy without it. Take a combination of cream, blush beige, and light terracotta, add chocolate brown in a key piece like a blazer or shoes, and you transform something that could feel vague into a defined, intentional composition. Brown adds visual weight without over-darkening, maintaining warmth without feeling heavy. For those afraid brown might look aging, the secret is keeping it away from the face if you have cool undertones. Wear it on the bottom, in accessories, or as a third piece. If you have warm undertones, you can wear brown near the face without issue. In fact, it will enhance your skin's natural golden tones. The key is choosing the right brown for your undertone. Browns with reddish hints for warm undertones. Browns with grayish hints for cool undertones. What really matters about these colors isn't just knowing they exist, but understanding how each one works in the context of your wardrobe and your reality. Incorporate one or two of these colors at a time, always in impeccably cut pieces and quality fabrics, because color in poorly made garments never works. Try the combinations I've shown here, but adapt them to your needs and personal style. A trend is only worth it if you can translate it into your life in a way that makes practical and visual sense. Start with the color that attracted you the most, test it in a safe context, and expand from there.